Hey folks, it's Dr. Brad Semp here, the host of the Effortless Productivity Show on Busyness.com. This is the show dedicated to helping you to get out of busyness and get down to business. Today's episode is brought to us by ListPing, an email management and autoresponder service that enables you to gather email names and to connect with your prospects and clients effectively through email. So visit listping.com right now and create your account for only $1 for the first 30 days. Again, visit listping.com. In today's episode, we're going to talk about meaningless action. I'm going to answer some questions about quitting. We're going to take a look at Redbox and a productivity lesson associated with that. And then we're also going to talk about the first steps to systematizing your business. Now time for our All BS segment. This is a segment in which I simply spout off on something. And what I want to talk about today is what I call meaningless action. Now, what is meaningless action? Meaningless action is simply busyness. So it's the same type of question that we get asked all the time. Brad, what is busyness? Well, it's meaningless action. What is meaningless action? It's busyness. And what I want to cover is that, first off, what is meaningless action? What is it to me, and how do you interpret it? Meaningless action to me is taking action that is not in alignment with your intentions. Now, we teach a 5-step process. It's called the ideal approach. IDEANL. Intentions, design, execution, analyze, and learn. And it's that first I of ideal that sets your intentions for what you are doing, whether it's in business or different phases of your life, the different pillars of your life. You have intentions that fall under each one of those. Once you have your intentions set, the actions that you take must be in alignment with those intentions. So for instance, from a business standpoint, if I have my intentions are to produce X millions of dollars a year in revenue, then my actions need to be designed, that's the D of ideal, need to be designed in a way, and then E, executed in a way that rolls up and it fits perfectly in alignment with those intentions. Now, far too often, what happens is people, number one, they don't define their intentions. Number two, they don't design their actions in a way that there's that alignment. And so that alignment that's missing, they find themselves way over in left field or way over in right field with their actions for the day. So for instance, just give you an example. For me, the accounting side of things is not an action that I design into my day. It's designed as part of my business systems, but my action is simply to turn over my receipts to my accountant. Kelly, you're awesome. Thank you very much. But for me to sit here and take my receipts and go through them one at a time, one after another, scanning them, filing them, doing all that stuff, to me, that's in my role, that's meaningless action. But in Kelly's role, my accountant, that's not meaningless action for her. In fact, she's like, Brad, give me those things. You don't need to be dealing with that. Give me those. That is my role. And so you can see, it comes down to the different role. It comes down to the intentions. There's many different things. But the role that you play in a particular business system helps to define what actions that you should be taking to roll up to the intentions. So the ideal approach, understanding that you need your intentions, understanding that you need to design and execute actions that are in alignment with those intentions, will keep you away from meaningless action and therefore away from busyness. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that, about meaningless action, busyness in general. Scroll down below and add a comment below this video. I'd love to hear from you and interact with you there. It's now time for our Ask Dr. Brad segment. This is the segment in which you ask questions and I answer them. Today's question comes from Sebs. And this question is, sometimes we get very busy and work very hard to achieve what we are aiming for, but in the end we fall short of our goals. When should we be persistent and push harder? And when should we call it quits? Now, Sebs, that is an excellent question. And it can be answered on multiple levels. But before that, I just want to say there's not an easy answer to this, okay? It's not black and white. There's definitely not 100%, here's where you quit, and here's where you persist and push forward. But what I can say is from a systems perspective that when people get in trouble most of the time, it's because they have not implemented what we call our ideal approach. And I just spoke about this in the last segment. Intention, design, execute, analyze, and learn. And most people, number one, do not define their intentions. And number two, they don't effectively design their actions. And so they may have something that they're aiming for, but the actions that they're taking, they have no idea whether those actions are bringing them on a straight path to those intentions, to the desired result. And so what happens is, they get caught in this quagmire of busyness. They get spinning out of control, going down one path of action, and they run into a dead end. They go down another path, it runs into a dead end. And frustration mounts. And so what happens is, if you don't effectively design your intentions, understanding what the end goal is, and understanding what the actions are that you're going to take to get there, you open the door for that feeling of frustration and wanting to quit. Now the solution to that is to be intentional about designing your action. So designing for action, in aligning those actions with the intentions in order to produce the results. Now if you fall short after you execute those, you can analyze and learn from the actions that you designed. So now you've designed that set of actions, you executed it, put it into action, and now you can go back and say, I fell short. Well, how much did I fall short? Was my trajectory off? Was I right on? I just fell a little short in absolute value of some type of metric that you're using. Instead of 100, you only got to 90. Whatever that is. But the point is that quitting is an option, absolutely. And when you effectively design those actions and you know what you've done wrong, you can either go back and fix them, or you can look at your actions and say, you know what? I know now there's no way that I can get to this end result because the actions I put in place are sound and they're just not getting me there. So lots of other levels that this question could be answered on. I hope that helps you, Sebs. One more thing I'll say, strategy versus tactics. That's another level. And I want to bring this up. Seth Godin has an awesome book here called The Dip, the little book that teaches you when to quit and when to stick. So here's a resource for you. And one of the things he talks about in here is the difference between strategy and tactics. Sometimes your strategy may be sound, but the tactics that you're putting in place are not sound. And there's a whole bunch of different levels to think about, as far as quitting. And it's something that is going to require an answer much longer than here. But I hope my answer helps get you down the path. Take a look at this resource, The Dip, the book from Seth Godin. And thank you again, Sebs, for your question. And for that, I'd like to give you free access to our Entrepreneur Cash Map package. That's a $497 value. You'll be getting that for free for asking your question and having your question answered on air. So everyone else, if you would like the opportunity to win or be gifted our Entrepreneur Strategy Cash Map, actually it's the Entrepreneur Cash Map package in total, $497. Simply visit busyness.com, look for the Ask Dr. Brad icon, click on that, and ask us the question that you would like me to answer on air. If your question is selected, you will be a lucky recipient of our Entrepreneur Cash Map package. All right, it's now time for our Buck the System segment. This is a segment in which we take a look at examples of people and organizations that have bucked the system to produce extraordinary results, or bucked the system to produce subpar results. Today, I want to look at some extraordinary results by a company that's called Redbox. And I'm sure you've seen their red boxes that are set up in high trafficked areas around department stores, McDonald's, and in other department stores of the like. Now, Redbox is a little red box in which you can rent DVD movies for $1. And because they're located at high traffic areas, it makes it very convenient, very efficient for someone to, as they're going in to buy something else, pick up a movie and bring it home to their spouse or to their family, all in a day's work, right? So what I want to talk about today is what can we learn from Redbox? There's many things we can learn from a productivity standpoint, but one that I want to talk about today is the design of the environment. You'll notice that Redbox position themselves in high traffic areas. If they position themselves at a separate convenience store somewhere else that was off the beaten path, nobody would go rent DVDs from them. But because they've positioned themselves in the environment, made it very efficient for people to pick up on their way in or out of the stores, they are knocking the doors off. of the DVD rental industry. Now, think about that from a business standpoint. I'll give you an example for me personally. What about your car charger? Or what about a charger for your laptop computer? Now, for me, when I travel, it seems like about once a quarter, I forget, for a year or so, I forgot a charger for my laptop. So I ended up with 3 or 4 extra chargers, and they're not cheap if you own a Mac. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The phone charger, same thing. Forgot them before. So what do I do now? I actually keep a phone charger in my car, and it doesn't leave my car. I actually bought a separate, I actually didn't have to buy another, I just used one of the ones I bought, of my charger for my laptop, and leave that in my bag. It doesn't leave my bag. So the charger that I use when I'm on the road is that one that comes from my bag. The one that I use at home is a completely different one. I'm designing my environment to be productive. So I'm taking a look at what are the tool sets that I need, both physical and also in the electronic, digital, webosphere world. You know, the websites that you use on a daily basis, the apps that you use. You want to make sure that they're accessible and that they're right there staring you in the face, right in your path. Final example, if you use a computer on a daily basis, like I do, this computer is always here where I work. I don't keep it upstairs in the second floor master bedroom because it's inefficient. It's not going to help my productivity. It needs to be where you need it at the right time, the right place at the right time. And that is what Redbox does from a DVD rental perspective. And that is a lesson that you can learn and apply to your business. Now, I want to remind you that today's episode is brought to us by listping.com. Listping is an email management and autoresponder service that allows you to gather email addresses, to respond to them in an automated fashion, and to use email marketing to develop relationships with your customers and prospects. So visit listping.com right now and create an account for only $1 for the first 30 days at listping.com. It's now time for our Unload segment. This is a segment in which we talk about leverage, outsourcing, automation, and delegation to help you to unload things on your plate and help you to get out of busyness. Now today, I'm actually not going to talk about the LO, A, or D. What I want to talk about is something that's more foundational than that, and that is systematizing your business. Because at the root of leverage, outsourcing, automation, or delegation, you must have your business systems designed and put in place. Now many people forget this step. First thing that they do is they look for an outsourcer. Hey, I want to outsource a particular thing. And they get caught because what happens is they say, I want X, I want this deliverable, I don't know how to get there, I just want somebody to do it. And most often than not, that turns out to be disastrous. You need to understand what your business systems are. You need to know the step-by-step actions that are necessary to produce results. And only then should you go and outsource something. That gives you the ability, that puts you in control. It gives you the ability to know what's happening, to know whether somebody's pulling the wool over your eyes, to understand the pricing and feedback that they're giving you, whether it even holds water, right? So the question that I'm always asked with that is people say, Brad, what do I do first? Do I start building systems or do I start making money? And we also get people that will say, you know, I get it, I need systems, but once I hit the $5,000 a month mark, then I'll start looking at putting my business systems in place. And it's like, you missed it right there. It's never too early to start systematizing your business. Absolutely never. But why do people not want to systematize their business? Number one, they don't want to be tied down. They think that putting systems in place is going to hamstring them. When in reality, done right, systematizing your business is going to free you up. Trust me, it'll free you up, right? Now, the second thing is they don't have time for it. I don't have time for that. I need to focus on the actions I need to focus on to produce revenue, not systematizing your business. Again, missed it. Absolutely missed it. It's not hard. It doesn't have to be complex. It can start one brick at a time on the foundation. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at your business, to identify the actions that you take on a daily basis. And then I want you to prioritize them, let's say the top 3. I want you to take the top 3 ones, actions that are causing you the biggest heartache and pain in your business. It could be something that you are absolutely struggling in and you can't get done. It may be something that you just hate to do. Maybe it's accounting and you just hate accounting. But whatever it is that's causing you the biggest pain, the top 3, then focus on the top 1. And for that one, what I want you to do is list on a matrix the steps, just in Excel or on a piece of paper. Okay, of that, here's what I go through. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and just put that onto paper. At this point, there's no need to draw pretty process charts or flow diagrams or anything like that. Your first step is to take that first thing that's causing you pain and document in a list what the actions are that you go through in doing that. Now, after you get that done, go on to the second one, then go on to the third one. If you can do one of these a day, great. If you can do one of these a week, awesome. If you can do only one a month, that's fine too, because at least you're taking the steps to systematize your business. And that is the first steps that you need to take to put that system foundation of your business in place, so that then later on I'm going to teach you how to use that to leverage, outsource, automate, and delegate to unload your plate, to effectively unload your plate and get out of busyness. With that, that concludes our show today, and I want to thank you for being here. I want to remind you also to visit busyness.com to register for our show updates, or to look for the iTunes link where you can subscribe to our video podcast in iTunes. Would absolutely love to see you in either place. Would also love your feedback on this show. If you have any comments about any of the segments, scroll down below and enter in a comment. I am actively monitoring those comments, and I will exchange dialogue with you right here on the page. So I would like to thank you again for watching the Effortless Productivity Show on busyness.com. Look forward to hearing your comments. And again, be sure to register via our email notification or via iTunes. I'm Dr. Brad Semp, and I'll see you next week.